This story begins when I was 22 years old, fresh out of college, standing at the cusp of adulthood with the world seemingly laid out before me. I had landed a desirable job right out of university, and thanks to my parents, I was living rent-free in my childhood home. Imagine that, a roof over my head, meals provided, and all the familiar comforts of my hometown just a few steps away. I was saving money rapidly, free from the financial burdens that many young adults face. I had my own room, my own car, and a routine that I cherished deeply. My days were predictable. Wake up, satisfy my caffeine addiction, head to work, hit the gym, read a little at home, scroll through my phone, and then sleep. Weekends were my escape. Hiking, mini road trips, board games with friends. No wild parties, no reckless behavior, no drama. I wasn't the party girl type. I didn't drink excessively, I didn't frequent clubs, and I certainly didn't let men dictate my choices. Raised by a strong father who remains the most important man in my life, I viewed hookup culture with disdain. I valued stability and respect, but beneath this calm, routine life, fate was quietly steering me toward a night I would never forget. A night that would shatter my sense of safety forever. One weekend, my closest friend Lindsay from college invited me, along with two other friends, Sabrina and Thea, to her family's beach house for a few days. I had never been to this house before, but Lindsay's descriptions painted an irresistible picture. A secluded, private beach away from the chaotic tourist crowds. A peaceful retreat that promised quiet and luxury. Lindsay's family was wealthy. Both of her parents were neurosurgeons, and the house itself was, as I later found out, a marvel of modern architecture. It didn't look like a typical beach house. It resembled a covert military safe house, all sleek lines and imposing security features. Out of respect for Lindsay and her family, I won't share photos, but I did take plenty, and they revealed just how extraordinary this place was. The four of us settled in one of the kids' bedrooms, complete with 2 bunk beds and an attached bathroom. It wasn't the most glamorous sleeping arrangement, but it felt right. After all, we were there to have. The first night was calm, almost idyllic. We strolled down to the private beach, sitting in the sand, sipping White Claws, listening to house music from Sabrina's speaker. The night sky stretched endlessly above us. Then, far down the shore, a faint flickering light caught our attention. At first, it seemed like nothing more than a flashlight beam, swaying gently. But soon, we noticed the light was moving steadily towards us, accompanied by the sound of laughter. As the figures emerged, we saw 3 young men approaching, strolling casually, laughing softly, not running or behaving erratically, just walking like they owned the night. One of them called out a friendly hi in a guy's voice about our age. Thea yelled back, and soon they joined us in the sand, beers in hand. The guys were classic beach boys, sun-kissed and laid back, and Thea, who's always been a bit wild when it comes to guys, was clearly interested. The rest of us were cautious but open. The night progressed with laughter, drinks, and light conversation. After a few hours, they invited us back to their place. I was tired and decided to head back to Lindsay's beach house, but the others eagerly followed the boys down the shore. At around 3 a.m., my phone buzzed loudly. It was Lindsay, calling me on FaceTime, screaming words that shattered the night's calm. Thea and Sabrina had been kidnapped. I froze, a wave of icy terror crashing over me. Lindsay's panic was palpable, her voice shaking as she begged me to get her car immediately. She told me the police were already involved, but I needed to act fast. My body moved on pure adrenaline, clothes thrown on, heart pounding like a drum. I sprinted down the stairs, barely comprehending the nightmare unfolding. Lindsay's calm instructions guided me. Open the driveway gate, find her car keys, and get out there. I floored the accelerator, speeding down the deserted beach road, the car roaring beneath me. Lindsay described the kidnapper's vehicle and the direction it had fled. A few houses down the shore, heading left. The streets were empty, and my reckless speed was the only thing on the road. The fear of being pulled over never crossed my mind. There was only one priority: finding them. Minutes later, a vehicle matching Lindsay's description came into view. I called the police dispatcher, gave them precise coordinates, and was ordered to keep my distance and avoid alerting the kidnappers. I slowed behind the car, heart hammering in my chest as flashing police lights appeared ahead. The car didn't attempt to flee, possibly unaware that the law was closing in. What followed was a scene out of a nightmare. Police officers drew their weapons, shouting orders as they forcibly removed the 3 men from the vehicle. Cuffed and controlled, the suspects were led to patrol cars. Then came the trunk. When the officers opened it, horror met my eyes. Thea and Sabrina, bound and bruised, looked terrified but alive. The rescue was only the beginning. The full story, told later by Thea, Sabrina, and Lindsay, revealed the brutal reality of that night. Thea and Sabrina chose not to write their account themselves. Understandably, reliving such trauma is agonizing. Yet they trusted me to tell their story. After I left that night, they kept drinking with the guys. Lindsay, trying to stay responsible, was the only one who remembered the events clearly. At some point, the men suggested the group split up and go to bed. Lindsay decided to leave, but the man she told this to became angry, eventually shouting at her to leave and never return. Later, Lindsay forgot her purse and returned, only to witness the horrifying moment when Thea and Sabrina were forced into the car. She called the police immediately. Then me. The legal battle that followed was intense. Thea's parents, both lawyers, fought fiercely to protect their daughter's privacy and to ensure the kidnappers received the maximum punishment. The kidnappers had been living illegally in a house that did not belong to them, an elderly couple's vacation home, along with multiple charges stemming from the kidnapping. This fact helped secure long prison sentences. Yet, as long as those men remain behind bars, the trauma and damage they inflicted cannot be undone. This experience changed me forever. For years, beaches became places of dread. Late nights felt unsafe. I found myself withdrawing from social circles and drifting apart from the friends I once trusted. Talking to strangers became an anxiety trigger. Safety, I learned, is fragile and often deceptive. Thankfully, time, therapy, and the support of my closest friends helped me heal. But the shadow of that night lingers in the corners of my memory, a chilling reminder of how quickly life can spiral into darkness. Looking back, the most terrifying thought is how close I was to being caught in that nightmare. Had I stayed longer with the boys, had I not chosen to leave early, the police might never have found the kidnappers. This story is a stark reminder. Even the safest places can hide unspeakable dangers. Stranger danger is real, and vigilance can save lives. Thank you for watching this episode on True Crime Archives channel. If you're intrigued by stories like this, stories of mystery, abduction, and justice, please subscribe and ring the bell. Now, I want to ask you, have you ever felt that your sense of security was shattered in an instant? How would you react if faced with a similar situation? Comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Remember, every story has a voice. Every victim deserves justice, and every mystery waits to be uncovered.